wonderfully restored family life, good friends, and a dreamy Irish boyfriend. What could go wrong? Well, except for hearing things, faceless threats, and old enemies reaching out from beyond. Not much. In the highly anticipated installment of the Circle of Nine series, Valerie Biel's Mercy in the Mist is spellbinding from first to last. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome to you, Val.
Thanks for having me back. This is so much fun. As you know, I love talking about all the cool things in this series, right? So you touched on a lot of that. So this is the cover, and I just want to mention too, we just redesigned the covers. The cover designer was itching to get her hands on these, so I'm so happy with
Oh,
the
it's so
cover.
cool.
So yeah, but I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. This is fun to talk about. If you love fantasy series with magic and mythology mixed together, also like the coming of age story that you touched on with a little bit of romance thrown in. So I get to do everything with this series, which is so fun.
And I love it so much. Highly anticipated, especially by me. And, I'm not 15, uh, as we can tell. But I pick them up. I can't put them down. I absolutely love Bridget. I love her mom. I love just everybody. It is just such a delightful series. Um, and yeah, let's talk a little bit about it a little bit more in depth. So your main character's family is descend,
Yeah, they're just
descended from the Tuatha, who were one of the four founding magical tribes of Ireland. How did you do research on the Tuatha?
So it was an interesting sort of segue actually from archaeology, which may seem odd, but this is why I also love your book so much because of the archaeology component. I always feel like I wish I could have been many things, in my life, career, whatever. But archaeology is something that I just love a deep dive into archaeology. So all the places that are on the covers or that are mentioned in the books are real places. And they are Neolithic places in Ireland or possibly slightly newer than that, which also means they're still thousands of years old. But I can only go so far with that archaeological record, right? So there weren't written records at the time. So kind of once I've exhausted that interest area, like of the places that we saw on our trips there, that I wanted to include in the books, then I switched over to Celtic mythology. So you've got these four tribes, founding tribes of Ireland in Celtic myth or Irish myth. And I picked the Tuatha de Danann to be the main one that is the ancestors of my characters because they have like the coolest stuff. Had like the best treasures and the coolest gods, and it was a lot of fun. So I did a lot of reading there and decided which things to highlight, and which things to choose, so, that were going to be included. So if you're a purist, so okay, don't start emailing me things about like this or that. If you're a purist on Celtic and Irish myth and legend, I fully understand that I have not used every single thing from that tribe's background in my stories. There's still time. There's still time. So that's where I that was like a secondary inspiration from the first inspiration, which was the mystical locations around Ireland. So yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of answers the question. It's fascinating. I mean, every culture has their myth and
Mhm.
legend, background. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's there are, yes, Celtic purists out there and whatnot, but there's not a lot of like scholarly stuff that you can look at. I found that with that book.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because they're at a Roman archaeology site in the Cotswolds, and I've got Druids there, which were the Celtic priests, and there were no Druids there at that time. They had been driven out like 300 years before, and so my main character is really mad that they're there causing trouble because there's no reason for them to be there. But it's hard to find anything about when they were there and what they left behind. I mean, you can kind of find stuff on you know franksblog.com, but
Right.
you know,
And then you're like, is this true or is this not true?
right.
I have a growing group of Irish friends who are more than happy to share like their, the things they have learned through their lives, storytelling and things that have been passed down. So some of the details have been drawn from other, like perhaps not verifiable sources. But again, we write fiction, so we can have
Oh, it's
some fun
okay.
with that. And I do like to base things in some realities. I mean, like these are all real places. This is the contemporary world. We just have this parallel magic and mystical stuff happening alongside all the regular real world issues, like having to navigate weather or just day to day living or school, right? Because
Or dating. Yeah.
dating, right? So it's kind of I like that. I like that combination.
Mhm.
Um, I do read high fantasy sometimes, where the world is just completely, created by the author. But I kind of prefer this. I prefer writing this. So
Well, uh, you keep saying that your locations are all real, which is delightful because as I'm reading, and I'm usually reading on an iPad, I will just stop mid-page and then go to a map and then go to Wikipedia and then it is just it's really fun to just go, oh, that's what that looks like. Oh, that is just cool. So it's kind of a delightful just trip through Ireland for the reader as well.
do you do maps in your books? I can't
I
remember now.
don't. I should.
So I've been thinking this too, and I'm kind of wondering if I add it on as an extra for like something readers get if they subscribe to my blog or something like that. But I have to tell you that I was trying to make sure that something would work for this book, and I had to plot things on a map like from location to location. So I mean, I'm always happy with a good map, right? So, but yeah, these are all real places that in Ireland, and I can't remember now what it's like in England, and you can tell me what this looks like. But like the historical places that are just kind of off in a farm field, and these farmers have to keep access to them. Like
Yeah.
there has to be a gate. Like you might be walking with sheep, but there has to be a gate to get in. And better close that behind you if you ever lived on a farm. Don't make a farmer mad. Close the gate behind you. There's these little brown signs that say what it is, like a stone circle or like a henge tomb or like a portal tomb or something. And the name will be on that with like just the little pointy arrow at the end. And you kind of just park alongside the road. Maybe there's a little gravel and you just hike your way over to see these places. But they're like little brown signs and they're hard to see.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not.
Actually, very much like that in England, and they're white with an acorn on them if it's part of a national forest. But yeah, same little thing. It's like, okay, is that arrow pointing to that trail or again
Right.
into that farmer's backyard?
It's so fun. And my husband's the driver in Ireland for me because I tried. No one wants me driving on the other side of the road. I really wanted to give him a break because he's always the driver. But I'm like, pull over here. Oh wait, slow down. Like whatever. I'm always he's very understanding.
It's good to have a good travel partner.
It
My
really
husband is very much one as well.
So yeah,
Um,
so it's fun that they're real places. I agree. I think that makes it a very kind of I don't know, accessible thing for people. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, no, I love that. So there are ceremonies that your characters do because they're magic. Uh, and in this book, it's the Imbolc. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, in bulk ceremony is the beginning. So if oh here I can show this. Hey, we're on video. I can show you something. So my characters follow, and I'll pull this up as close as possible.
The
My
Wheel of the
characters
Year. Yeah.
follow the eightfold year wheel of the year. So it's 8 holidays. It's the equinoxes and the solstices and the cross quarter days in between.
Okay.
The beginning of this book in bulk is February 1. So it's the cross quarter day. And yeah, so I have never. So some of these types of ceremonies, they're done often in your home, and some of them in my book in particular are much more. They're bigger festivals and they're bigger events. So the only one that I have been to, which isn't even in Ireland, is I went to the summer solstice at Stonehenge, and um, it was not my most proper parenting moment, perhaps. So the kids were, I want to say 16, 11, and 9. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
there
kids.
are people there who do that nude, don't they?
Yeah, there was some, it was a learning experience. It really was. So, yay for good parenting. Yay. Um, but so that's the only one that I have been to. I do I have made online friends with a lady who lives down the lane from Beltany up in County Donegal. So if I show this is the first book. So this stone circle, which is, created in a fantastical way here on the cover, is a real place. And the lady that lives down the lane goes up there and she takes pictures on every holiday of
Oh,
that
that
circle.
is wonderful.
So I feel like I'm immersed in this world without having gone to some of these festivals. Now, here, I live in Wisconsin. I live quite a ways away from Ireland.
Quite a
It's
ways.
just some planning. But there are some circles. There's a really nice Wicca circle in the Madison area that has events of this nature that I could attend if I chose to do so. Which isn't I don't my characters aren't practicing Wicca, but it is very very much parallel because of the holidays that are celebrated. So
So the ceremonies themselves are these rhymed kind of incantations. Do you make those up or are they taken from your research?
I do make them up. I do because I was always
They're
worried about
cool.
copyright. Um, I have fun with that. Like, so if you would ask me if I can write poetry, I'd say, no, 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 no. That is not anything I do. Or if I do, it's really, really bad. And anybody who knows what they're doing, it'd be like, oh dear, we need to send you to class. But these are fun. And so they're rhyming. And I attempt to keep my meter, like even so that you can speak them that way. And I really enjoy listening to my narrator do them when she does the audiobooks because she has a slightly different take on it, like in terms of the inflection.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I make them all up and I
Okay.
agonize over them. I really, really agonize over them. And I go back and fix them and I change them and, whatever. So
Oh, they're very cool.
yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah, yeah, and in a not um, yeah, I read a lot of Shakespeare and
Oh, sure.
when you're doing that Scottish play and you have the three witches and you read those are not fun. They are
Oh,
really scary.
right. Right. And
And
I think
so these are like they're also positive and
and
tied to
sometimes
light.
they're fun. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're just fun. I mean, sometimes they're using an incantation. They've cast their circle, right? They've done the four, the points of the compass. They've done their circle. They've cast it, so they're safe to do their magic. But sometimes they're seeking something interesting. That's just for fun. Like maybe they're looking for a view into the past. They're scrying, whatever. So it's not always for serious things or
Yeah.
dangerous things,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
It's like, did you find that book for me?
Yeah, it's like, or can we figure out the gender of the baby, or something like that. I don't know. It's just yeah. So and sometimes it's for more serious purposes, but it's not. We don't. There are scary bits in the book. There's suspense in the book. There's moments in the book where you're not sure the books where you're not sure what's gonna happen. But we're not into horror category here at
No,
all.
yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Uh, so, yeah, as you said, this is sort of a coming of age story. Why do you choose to tell this story from Bridget's perspective instead of
Um,
her mother's?
So I really love the mother, and I feel like I channel her a lot. I don't know. I have always loved writing things from a younger character's perspective, and I don't know if perhaps that's because I still remember so vividly what it was like to be a teen. Yeah, sorry. You're gonna hear all these dinging. I should have turned my dings down for this.
They didn't come through. It's okay.
Okay, very good. Sorry. So I think that part of it is that I just remember vividly what that was like to be a teen and just the awkwardness of that coming of age moment, like when you are coming into your ability to make the decisions on your own life, about your own life and your direction in the world. And I have a lot of fans who are that are not teens, that appreciate these stories, right? I know. So I read a lot of YA myself. So I mean, that's really the only answer I can give is that it feels right to tell this story from this character's point of view. But I will mention, and as people who read this series, and you know this, that I have a lot of older characters in the book, the Circle of Nine Women, and some of their stories are getting told inside this book. So when I first went to sell this series to an agent, they were like, "Yeah, but where is it going to live?" And I'm like, "Well, it's YA, but it's also like historical fantasy in parts, but it's also contemporary, like I want it to be too many things, and it works for the story, but it does not work for the industry. Um,
Right.
they only want to shelf things in one spot.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I like and even now I teach middle grade workshops for writing and high school workshops. I like that age group. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, middle grade. No, I don't want to teach preteens. I just think it's a heck of a lot of fun. So I like the age group.
Well, it's awesome, and they absolutely the characters feel real, and they're doing all that angsty stuff that you do when you're that age, and yeah,
True.
it's
True.
wonderful. Um, so you have in this book a new baby,
Yeah.
and which is delightful, and uh, Bridget will look into Bree's eyes and just know exactly what she's thinking. These fully formed thoughts that there's like babies don't do.
Right.
As a mother, did you ever feel like your baby was telegraphing you, full sentences?
Okay, so we all like to think that our children are just the most brilliant creatures ever created for this world, right? But and I'm sure I think this is probably true for a lot of people. And now we just are new grandparents. So we have a 2-month-old grandson and an 8-month-old grandson. And um, I just really want to know what they're thinking because I feel like when I look at them that they're thinking something bigger than just where's my next meal coming from, you
Right.
know, could possibly change this diaper like now. Thank you very much. So I think that it would be interesting to know, and obviously if you're a student of neurology, you know that what I am proposing is not true. That babies have the capacity to do this. This is where the magic comes in, where Bridget, my main character, is hearing her little sister think some things that she ought not to be able to do at her tender baby age. But that's what's fun. And, it's interesting. I touch on this at the very, very end of book 3. And then I had a decision to make as to how would this progress for book 4, right? We always have to figure out, well, I've done this thing now in this previous book. How am I going to make this work?
And now I'm stuck with that.
So that was kind of a balance on how far I would take that in the 4th book. So,
Mhm.
but Bree's going to be around obviously for a while, so she'll play a bigger role in the future.
Yay. Which means there are more books coming in the future.
There are. So, do you want me to go down that rabbit hole? It's not really a rabbit hole. I have planned for 6 books in this series. So I have outlined the next 2 books. So there's 4 now. And then I am not saying no to like a spin-off of sorts where we get to still hang out in this world because it's really my happy place. I love this world
It's
of books. So yeah.
yeah, do it. Um, so Bridget, relatively young, and she has a couple of really, we'll call them devoted suitors. Uh, so, high school boyfriends. Um, and one of them, she's just it's like, okay, he's the one. I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna be with him for the rest of my life. At a very young age. So I was just Do you believe in the high school sweetheart lasts forever kind of love?
Well, not for myself, because that's not how it worked out. And actually, that's probably a good thing, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so so I do know people who met their eventual, future spouse in high school. Maybe they didn't stay dating the whole time. They maybe went off to college, but in the end, they ended up back with this person that is their person. So. I think that's what's interesting here is that Bodhi, Bridget's love interest, is a member of the Tuatha. He's been raised the same way. So there's not a lot of things that she doesn't have to explain things to him, nor would she be able to really if he was a non-Tuatha. There's some rules, right, about what you're
Mhm.
able to
Yeah,
say. But that would make for a very tricky, marriage, right? To let somebody, not in on a good chunk of your life.
right.
Right. So yeah, I think that because there's some other magical elements at play here in a way that the whole soulmate thing makes sense for her and for Bodhi, not that there might be some other trials and tribulations. Now in the book one, she's with someone from her own high school. Bodhi lives in Ireland. It's a long distance relationship. She lives in Massachusetts. Um, so uh, the previous boyfriend, her first boyfriend, really, there's been some very interesting twists and turns with him, and he has a certain a grandmother who is not altogether a good person, perhaps, right? So that relationship got very complicated, and there was some dishonesty and deceptiveness, which made her kick him to the curb. So, yeah.
She's not taking very well.
No, it's not taking it very well, and this is going to get even more complicated in the next book. So
That's what I figured there was a
you
lot
anticipated
of,
that, okay?
a lot of paths being laid right there. Um, let's see. Okay. We're just going to switch gears for a minute
Okay, yeah.
because um, the other book that you have out right now is Beyond the Cemetery Gates,
Oh,
um, and I also read that, and that was like one sitting. I opened it, I could not put it down. It
oh,
was
that
just
that makes me feel so good. Wow, wow, that's a compliment. You read a lot of books, so that's like a compliment, big
yeah,
compliment.
absolutely loved it. And I know you've had an interview about that one, but just tell us about that one too.
Okay, so this is also YA, but it's really going to be a crossover to adult because it is the jumping off point for a series. It's not a series yet because it's just one book. But in Beyond the Cemetery Gate, you meet Chloe. Chloe has one parent, it's her dad. In the opening chapter, you meet her as she searches for her dad in the cemetery where he is the caregiver of the cemetery, and that's where their house lives. So she's trying to find him, and she finds him propped up against a headstone, dying of a drug overdose with the needle still in his arm. So his death is declared an accidental overdose by the local police force. This is a small town kind of story. And she knows this isn't true. She is up against then this potentially corrupt or just in that small town police force as she tries to find his killer. And she also has some other complications, right? Because she is a teen, she should have adult supervision. There is a very persistent social worker trying to make sure she has adult supervision. And she's completely out of money. The bank accounts have been drained, and the emergency stash in the house is gone. So as she progresses through this, she realizes that her dad's kind of like quiet life looked like a quiet life, masked a web of family secrets that are now well, that probably led to his death, but are now putting her in mortal danger. So I had great fun writing this, and it was my first mystery suspense, type of novel. It just won the Midwest Book Award, which here in the Midwest is a pretty big deal, and it's been like a silver medal, winner for the IBPA, the Independent Book Publishers Association award, which is nationwide. And the Nashville Killer Nashville conference I am a finalist for the YA category there for the Silver Falchion, which we will know shortly about
Yeah.
that one. I know we're recording this before you guys will all see it. So by the time this recording airs, we'll know whether I am remained a finalist or rose to the top in that. But great fun. And that will be what I write next is the sequel to that, even though I'm chomping at the bit for the next two in the Circle of Nine series. I don't know. Can we just not make the day longer so there's more time to help? Pretty please.
Concentrate and focus on writing, not let all that other stuff get in the way.
I know, like life and like other work and yeah.
All that. Um, all righty. So, kind of we have sort of the talked about, it's like, what's next for Bridget? What's next
Yeah.
for you? And so I think we're to the where can our fans find you? What are your
The
social
best thing,
medias?
yeah, the best thing to do is just go to my website, valeriebiel.com, and you can spoke out from there. So all my social media links are there. My Substack is there. If you're a writer, my Substack tends to help a lot of other writers with content, but I also write about my, fun things that happen on the way to publication kind of posts about research and things, excuse me, deep dive into my book. So go to the website. That's the best spot to find me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews.